It may be the way of the future. Josh took the car on Saturday with Mikey, yeah, the pair of them. And so tell us your initial thoughts. Had you driven an electric vehicle before?
No, first time. Yeah, right. I think, has anyone seen that movie from the 80s, Tron, with Jeff Bridges? Yeah, you feel like you're in Tron when you're driving this. It's pretty cool. So you got all the ambient lighting, the technology. For me, my first Mercedes was a 2014 C-Class, the 205. So the dual camera system, like all that semi-self-drive, all that stuff is in there. And if you're someone like me that's had a C-Class or something 10 years old that's got all that assistance stuff, the learning curve is very small. You get in it and you just know where everything is, and you just let it drive itself. So similar to what the gentleman was saying about the GLC, all that same technology. It's very cool. You've got a massive head-up display. So for me, I was actually pretty skeptic because I'm not a big fan of electric cars, even though I hadn't driven one. Just because of the design is not quite there yet, and I'm not a big fan of SUVs. I like coupes, sedans, like something low. I think there's too many big cars on the road. But if they did make this in a two-door with the pillarless design, like I'd be all in. I think I'd be right on it. Driving it, so I said it's a 350. My car's a E300 with the 4-cylinder petrol. If you didn't tell me that this was an electric car and I got in it and I drove it, but for the sound being different, it actually handles like a petrol car. So when you take off, the way it accelerates, and I was going to say gearing, but it doesn't have gearing. It's got dual motors. You've got a motor in the front, motor in the back. It takes off like a petrol car. It feels like a petrol car, brakes like a petrol car. I was actually really surprised. It feels really refined in the way it travels for an SUV. It does come in a sedan, so there's actually a sedan out the front. There's the S and the E. I would really like to drive the sedan, but yeah, it's a really cool car. I think for someone that's never driven one, like, I'm pretty sold. So
what about
500 k's range as well? So we actually had really big range anxiety. You read about this range anxiety. We took it out on the first night, remember, and we had it with, I think we started with 85 and we got down to 65%, so I'm talking percent.
So how much did that charge cost you?
It's free. Yeah, and I think, there's a lot of incentives to try and get people on this, but that charger in the Woolies car park, was there 5 or 4 bays? 4 bays. Yeah, 4 hours to get a full charge. So if you're at 60 or 80%, you leave it for 2 hours, you're close to, full. And then I think if you charge it at home, if you plug it in the wall, we didn't do that, but you only get like 2 kilowatt hour, I think, or something like that.
3 kilowatt hours.
3?
If you
Yeah.
have 3 phase, you can bump it up to 22 kilowatt hours on a 3 phase.
If you put all of the environmental things aside, it's a good car.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
awesome
actually
car.
just good at being a car.
I think the design, like, everyone likes to knock the design a bit, I think, but there's a reason behind the design. So all of it's aerodynamics. Like, everything that creates drag is going to take range. It's going to steal range from the car. So whether it's the grille, the jelly bean kind of look, the handles go in. If you've got your windows down, I think, and you don't use the AC, you're actually using more electricity than what you are if you have all the windows down and you have the AC off. So there's a whole heap of things there that the design really pays to that. Even the airfoils going in here. The wheels even have airfoils in them too. So like, there's a lot of execution to try and get you that maximum range. Another thing too, so the head unit's really smart. What I was saying about the technology, it's all touch screen and everything. You can use the map system in there, and when you navigate to your destination, it will actually tell you, and we didn't need to do this because we didn't go on a super long drive, but if you put a route in there, so if you went from here to Canberra, it would tell you how much of your charge will get you to whatever point you need to get to, and it will actually tell you the charging stations along the way and how long you need to spend at each charging station. So if you're on a full charge, the first leg might be, halfway, and then it might say to you, charge for, an hour, and then continue, and you'll have no issues at all.
So what would this be compared to, a GLC or a GLE?
This would be GLE.
GLE.
Yeah.
And in terms of servicing cost?
It's a lot less.
GLE and this?
Yeah, this is about half. You pay about half to service this to what you'd pay on the GLE.
How often are you calling them in, Rob?
Once a year. It's the same service schedule.
Oh, okay.
Just that you pay a lot less. Things like brakes, you're not going to go through brakes anywhere near as much as you will on the other cars because the first bit of braking is all done by the motor.
driving an electric car, take your foot off the accelerator, just goes.
Yeah, on that.
Or does it keep rolling until?
Yeah, so
what's the?
Mercedes are pretty smart. So you've got 3 settings in here. Rob showed us as soon as we got into it. We kind of mastered it and played around with it with the paddles. So you don't have gear shifters in this one. You've got the paddles on either side of the steering wheel, and you've got regenerative braking. And what that's doing is it's putting resistance through, the way I understand it is through the electric motor. So when you do lift off, you've got the option of none to medium or normal, and then great, yes, strong, that's right. The dash was telling us up to 550, but then depending on your driving style, what you got on, how loud the music system is, Burmester sound as well, it's pretty awesome. Pump it, it's got a really nice tone, rich tone. You're obviously using more battery, so I think that came down to about 470 or 450 on the dash. It actually tells you the maximum you can get, and then it tells you what the adjusted is, and you see it go up and down depending on what you do. Yeah.